And talking also about that, I'm actually, God help me, I have a bunch of projects I'm thinking of sitting down and doing a compiled series of videos and put them on the YouTube channel, and you guys can watch there as well. I've been thinking about that, but that'll be probably for the future. Okay, so let's start, for example, with this car cost calculator. I think I put enough comments in it. So, okay. I'll explain this as much so it's going to be as clear as possible. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the cost calculator, and I think I need my drawing something here. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because he said 30 minutes, and I don't know. I work on projects for longer than 30 minutes.
no, I
So
mean, it's okay. It depends on what they refer to as projects. They basically just want to see what you have done on Python, basically. That's all.
so nothing too advanced, just something to show that I know what I'm doing.
Exactly, that's it, yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, this is if this is a car cost calculator. That's the app that is here, a car cost calculator. So basically, it's a script that can help somebody calculate the cost of their car.
The
Having
cost for what?
the cost
Car?
of their car, their vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I need to
This one, is this uploaded to your GitHub?
no, not yet. They actually reminded me. I will upload it to my GitHub just so it's available as well. I did that about 2 years ago. I just never thought of uploading it, but yeah, I will.
So I like to practice the project like tomorrow or
Okay.
watch it.
So what I'll do is after this call, I'll upload all of them to my GitHub right away, like within 5 minutes. And once it's done, I'll let you know. You can just go and pick it up from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are. So again, this is I think I need to zoom out a little bit.
So you wrote all of this?
Yeah, 2 years ago or something. It doesn't take you 3 hours to write it. Just okay. So we have so first thing first, Python, like every coding language, you have what is called the forms of data. You have string. Okay, you know what? I need to put a standard pencil. You have string, and a string is everything instead of quotes. So this, for example, here is an example of a string because it's instead of quotes. This is another string here because it's also instead of quotes. Okay. So you have string, you have integers, which refer to 1, 2, 3, 4, as long as the integers are not instead of strings, because the moment an integer is instead of a string, it becomes a string. But if it doesn't have any, in fact, as long as it's instead of quotes, I forgot quotes, not string, quotes. Once it is instead of quotes, it becomes a string. So as long as the integer is not instead of quotes, it remains an integer. An example of an integer here would be 12, 0. Yeah, these are integers here that can so far. Even here, this is an integer here, 0, 0, 0, obviously. These are integers. Okay. So our string, we have integers, we have Boolean values. Boolean values, of course, remember these are true or false. These are the only two values that they can have, true or false. Something is either true or false. It can be something else. And also you have a list. This is the other type of data is called list. It's in Python and every coding language. What I'm teaching right now is universal. So this is everything instead of square brackets. So it can be a list of numbers. Like in this case, this is a list of numbers, 7, 8. This is a list of numbers. Or it can be a mixture. It can be 1, yes, 2, Tom, 3, etc. Let me just end there. So this here, obviously, you can see that this here is a list of integers no, sorry, integers 1, 2, 3, and strings 1, 2. So a list can be a mixture of integers. It can be a mixture of integers, strings, booleans, or anything, or it can be only integers, or it can be only strings, or it can be only boolean values. A list, as long as it is inside of square brackets, it is called a list. The content doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the list. Now the next thing we have is called a tuple. Well, let me go back to a blue pen. A tuple. Now a tuple, T-U-P-L-E. So a tuple, what is special about a tuple is, instead of a square bracket, it is made up of normal brackets like this. So once you see square brackets, know that it is a list. Once you see circular brackets or normal brackets, know that it is a tuple. Now, it is exactly like the list. So it means that it can have numbers 1, 2, 3, and it can also have a boolean, like this is a boolean right now, and it can also have a string. I'll just call this string instead of quotes. So this is also a tuple here. So if you notice, you're going to notice that the only difference between a list and a tuple is that one has a square bracket, the other has a circular bracket. Now, yes, that is one difference. But another difference is that a list can be updated. A tuple cannot be updated. What does that mean? It means that a list can be updated. For example, right now, this list has only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. I can adjust this list and add also 9 and then 10 instead of it. I can add them behind here. I can add them anywhere. I can add it instead of this list. On the other hand, a tuple, once it has been created, cannot be edited, cannot be updated, cannot be adjusted. So right now, this tuple has 1, 2, 3, true, and str as the different items in the tuple.
So that's like,
go ahead.
right. So tuple it's like all of them kind of like combined, depending on how you put it together.
Not really. So basically, a tuple is exactly like a list, but the difference is a tuple, you cannot add a new item to a tuple. A tuple is kind of like your name. Well, let's say it's kind of like your sex. No matter what people say, no, I am a male today, female tomorrow, it's a lie. You are either male or female. You cannot change it because you are either going to have XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes. The way God created it, you cannot, unless science finds a way to be able to jack up all of your chromosomes and replace all of it, which is not possible because the moment they do that, you're dead on the way. So a tuple is kind of like the sex of a human being. You're either male or female. You cannot change it. But a list is kind of like, let's see, it's kind of like the number of diplomas you have. Right now, you have 10 diplomas, for example. You can go and study and add another diploma. And then with time, you add even 5 more, and then 10 more, and then 15 more. You can add on more and more diplomas to your list of diplomas. That is a list. But a tuple is kind of like your sex. You are a male or a female. It can never change for any reason whatsoever. It is fixed. Make sense?
Yes, this makes sense.
Okay. So I had to first of all say all of that for the foundation. Now let's continue. Now, there are many ways in which people use Python to code. But one of the big ways that you are going to ever work with Python is using what they call functions. Functions. And a function always starts with the word def. So def here means that you are defining a function. In other words, you are creating a function. A function is kind of like a module, kind of like a Terraform module. You know, with Terraform module, you can, with the Terraform module, you don't need to create the VPC module. You just need to get the module created by somebody, put it in your code and use it. We don't need to create it in Terraform. In the same way, in a function in Python, in Python functions, when you create a function like this, I mean like this one, starting here all the way down here, the function stops here. And then down here, we're actually calling the function. So we call what we created. Okay. So a function always starts with the word def. Def means what? Define. Define. D-E-F-I-N-E, define. So here we are defining our function and we are giving a particular name to our function. Since we are creating a Python script that will be able to calculate the cost of our vehicle, so we decided to call our function car cost calculator. That is the name we have decided to give to it. Now, you can give any name to your function. You can call it rice and beans. You can call it Monday to Friday. It doesn't matter. But it's always good to give a name that it's always good to give it a name that when you will see it, you will understand what it does. That's why I decided to give it this name. So I called my function car cost calculator. Now, when you define a function, you give it the name like this, you always end it with brackets open and close. Always. Now, why do you do that? That is because a function can have what is called arguments. What are arguments? Arguments are things that are added inside of this function. Let's say, for example, that I'm trying to create a function for my car cost calculator, and I want my function to be able to require the person that's going to use it. I want the function to ask that person by force to give me the name of the car and the age of the car, for example. If I want that, then when writing the function, I need to define the argument, and the arguments are going to be put here. I'll give an example how it will be like. So then it would have been something like def car cost calculator, open bracket, then I'll call here, I'll first of all write my first argument, costs, for example, and the second argument, color. I'll close it. Let me expand this a little bit. I'll do that, then I'll come down, and I'll write my function inside of here. So let me, of course, you have to always put a tab there. So I'll write my function inside of here. So this is how it would have been written if I wanted to add two arguments inside of the function. Now, in this case, we decided not to use arguments, so we put an empty bracket over there. I'm taking time to explain everything so you understand what each of these parts are here for. Okay, so tomorrow if they ask you, you know what to say. Now, let's go down from line 2 to line 7. This is a comment. There are many ways you can write comments in Python. Just like in any other coding language, you can put a pound sign in front of the code. Like you know, in Bash script, we use pound sign. You can put a pound sign to create a comment. But in this case, since we wanted to have 1, 2, 3 lines of comments, instead of putting pound sign in front of this one, pound sign in front of this one, 3 pound signs, we decided to just go ahead and instead go with the shortcut. And the shortcut in this particular scenario is we put 3 quotation marks up, 3 quotation marks down. When Python sees that, he understands that everything that's going to be inside of the quotation marks is a comment, and he will never try to understand it. He will just keep it and continue. So all of this here is a comment. So why did I put that comment? I put that comment so me, today, looking at this, I can remember very well what I was doing. So what is it saying? So this function calculates and displays the monthly and annual cost of operating a car. This function is going to prompt the user for loan payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance costs. The function is going to return a tuple. Remember what a tuple is? Number brackets. It's going to return a tuple with the calculated monthly and annual costs. So it's a function that calculates and displays the monthly and annual cost of operating a car. Now, anybody that's going to see this script is going to understand what this script is about. They will not be surprised. They will not be asking questions. It is clear. Why is it clear? Because I put a very simple and straightforward message inside of quotation marks. Now, let's start. If you remember, inside of bash script, we learned something called the if-else statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we learned
Basically, like,
yeah,
if this outcome's different, then do this.
yeah,
Or is it, yeah.
exactly. We had the if-else statement. We also have the while. Let's say it's while the while, they call it the while loop, and also the for loop. Now I know that we practiced a lot of this one, but we also did some examples of the while loop and the for loop. Now, not as much as we did the other, but we also did some examples. Now, the for loop, I don't want to go into the for loop. I think you remember what the for loop is, but I'll just go into the while loop. Why am I going to the while loop? Because my script uses the while loop. So what does the while loop do? Let me just do a quick reminder here. The while loop is basically a loop that is, let me write it here, it's going to be easier. It is a loop. The while loop is a loop that is true as long as a certain condition is true. Or in fact, if the while loop is a loop that will continue, that continues running as long as a certain condition is true. So the while loop is going to continue running as long as a certain condition is true. For example, as long as Kida is a male, let the sun keep shining in the sky. What does that mean? It means that as long as Kida remains a male and he can never change being a male, whether he changes his color, whether he wears the dress of a dog, he will never make him a dog, whether he takes people and tells people that he's a dog, whether people call him a dog, it doesn't matter. He is always going to be a male human being, full stop. And as long as that's the case, the sun is going to keep on shining. Based on that while loop, it means that the sun is going to keep on shining. Why? Because Mr. Kida will never cease from being a male. So a while loop is going to continue running as long as a certain condition is true. All right. Now, we have explained the while loop. Now let's go into something which I don't think I explained. We have not, this one is not included. It's not in bash scripting, but it's in Python. So let's learn it. Okay. Let me take a different color. Purple. Okay, so we have here something called try except. Now, when you are coding, as a coder, you don't want the people using your application, when they get an error code, you don't want them to get an error code that is going to be strange to them. You want them that in case they are using your application and then they get an error code, you want the error code to be able to be clear enough in English language for them to be able to understand. That is why in Python, they created something called the try except. Now, the try except, what it does is the except is going to always run in case there is any error in that script. But in case there's an error, instead of giving the default error that Python is going to give, Python is instead going to give the error which you put here. In this case, the error is going to be invalid input. Please enter a valid number. Now, if any human being alive uses my application and sees an error message like this, it's very, very simple. It's English language. They say invalid input E. Now this E here is what the script is going to ask them to put. I'm going to explain the script later. You see where it comes in. So it's going to say invalid input colon what you have just put. Basically, it's going to, let's say, for example, that this my script is going to only ask for numbers. This my script is not going to accept any letters. So if you come and when it's going to ask you for loan payment, instead of putting your loan payment as 1,000, you go and put A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then it's going to come up with this error here saying that invalid input A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Please enter a valid number. Now, this is a much better error message for anybody that's going to use my app. They will not see some strange error code 101, whatever. For us as developers, we are fine with seeing that error message. But for somebody who is just coming from his office tired and wants to run the application, he doesn't want to start thinking of Google to go and Google the error. No. You want him to get a very simple error message that's going to make it very clear to him what the error is. So that is why the try except is very important in Python. Very, very important. So in my script, I did the same thing. I use a try except. So this except is going to pop up in case the person using my script, instead of using numbers, tries to use letters. Because here, the script is going to ask the person to put the amount for their loan payment, the amount for their insurance, the amount for their gas, the amount for the maintenance of their car. If instead of putting numbers, they put letters, then they're going to have this error message. The error message will say invalid input.
So it would only pop up if they put anything else that's not what they're asking.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So it's kind of like an if statement, but it's good because it only catches the error in case the person puts the wrong character or something. Good. Now that I've explained the except, I think that the try makes total sense. I've explained the except. So the try, obviously it's English language. Try means Python. Try this first. In case this does not work, then run this one. Print it. Okay, so let's go ahead. So first of all, I've put a comment here so we understand what we're doing. So this shows that this part of the code here is going to prompt the user for their monthly expenses. The first question, enter your monthly loan amount. No, your monthly loan payment. Now, if you notice at the end, I put colon at the end, then I put a space before I put this, before I close the quotes. Why? Because whatever answer I'm going to give there is going to be put by Python inside of this space here, in this space here, in this space here, in this space here. That's why I put the space. It's not just for nothing, it's for a reason. Now, I've explained that part. Let me explain the other part. What is a float? I almost forgot. A float is another data type in Python. A float is what we are going to call a decimal. We call it decimal according to the way we were taught in primary school or secondary school. But in Python, they call it a float. So anything with a decimal, so 1.2, 3.3, 1.2598, 125.8. These are all decimals. These are all floats. Everything that has a dot, a decimal place, it is a float. So here, by doing this, what am I doing? I'm telling Python that whatever you, the user, you are going to input to this question here is going to assume that the answer you're putting is a float, is a decimal, which means that in case you put a letter, like you put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's going to refuse because it is not a float. And then immediately it notices that your answer is not a number and it's not a decimal. Immediately it's going to break and come down here and print, please enter a valid number, because you would have entered a letter. But in case you put a number, like you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine because Python is going to understand that your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is actually you're trying to put a decimal. So it's going to assume that the number you have put there, maybe if you put 5, it's going to assume that you actually mean 5.0, because 5 in mathematics, 5 is equal to the same thing as 5.0 decimal place. So if Python sees that you go and put 5 here, Python is going to assume that you're actually referring to 5.0, because we have told him that we want what? Float. We don't want a integer. If we want an integer, we would have put int in front of here. But we put the float. The moment we put float, Python is going to understand that we only want decimals there. So if we put the number, it's going to create a decimal out of that number. Okay, good. Same thing for insurance. So here we're asking the person to enter his monthly loan amount. Now, when the person is going to enter a number, in this case, he enters 5. This 5 is going to be saved inside of the variable called loan payment. Remember that by doing this, this is equals to that. This in Python, this equals to sign. In Python, I'm speaking a lot. I think I understand now why you wanted me to record this thing. In Python, wait, I need this guy. In Python, the equals to sign refers to the assignment operator.
So, whatever it's equivalent to?
No, what value is assigned to it? That's what I call assignment operator.
Okay, okay.
The equals to sign in Python is this. So in Python, the equals to sign is 2 equals to, for example, if I want to say 1 is equals to 1, I will say 1 is equals to 1. If I say 1, 1, it means that if I do this in Python, what it simply means is I'm telling Python, hey Python, I want you to create a variable called 1. Then assign the value of 1 to the variable called 1. That's what this is saying here. So here we are saying, hey Python, create a variable called loan payment, and then assign the value of loan payment, whatever my user is going to answer to this question here. So if you answer this question as 5, then the value of loan payment is going to be 5. If you answer this question as 55, then the value of loan payment is going to be 55. Whatever answer you give here is going to be the value of loan payment. Same thing for insurance, same thing for gas, same thing for maintenance. Good. I've explained all of that first part. Let's continue going. Now down here we have what you already know, which is the if statement. So here we have the if statement. And again, here I put a little comment so you understand. The comment says, this if statement is going to validate the inputs to make sure that the inputs are non-negative. So in case somebody is trying to put, when the person is running this script, the person, instead of putting 1, the person actually goes and put -1. Instead of putting 10, the person actually go and put -10. Now this here is what we call a negative number. And my script is going to basically, in case the person's answer in loan payment is less than 0. And what is less than 0? Anything from -1 to -1 million. In case the answer for insurance, this one that they give, is also less than 0. Or in case the answer they give for gas, this one is less than 0. Or in case the answer they give for maintenance, this one here, is less than 0. In case any of those things happen, then immediately create an error in the person's screen and then write this message. Write the message. Inputs must be non-negative. So you understand now why sometimes when you're writing, you're creating like your email or whatever, when you put something wrong, a message will appear, say, no, what you put there is wrong. That's what they call error handling in any coding language. What we are doing here, we call it error handling. These are some terms that can come up. Error handling. So in case the person tries to put a minus number for loan payment or insurance or gas or maintenance, maybe the person is trying to break my application. In case he does that, immediately the script will not even continue. It will stop here. And it will say value error. The inputs, which inputs? The inputs for these answers. The inputs for these answers must be non-negative. So it must be a positive number. It can be from 1 to 1 billion or 1 zillion if you want, but not negative. Okay. In case the person actually puts a positive number, like from 1 to 1 billion, then the script is going to continue from here down. So you notice that in Python, the script goes from up to down. It's always like that. In Python, the script always goes from up to down. So in case the person here puts a positive number, then the script will go to the second part. Now this part here says, this calculation here is going to calculate the total monthly cost. It's going to add the loan payment they've given, plus the insurance they've given, plus the gas they've given, plus the maintenance they've given, the amount they provided. So it's going to add all of them. You can see plus. You need to add all of them. And then the answer that's going to be given here is going to be assigned to this variable. Remember that the equals to sign in Python is the assignment operator.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know I've been here for a while already myself. I'm really getting there. Let's get going. All right. So we're going to the next step. The next step says this part of the script is going to calculate the annual cost. Remember what the script does. The script calculates and displays the monthly and annual cost of operating a car for anybody that's going to use the script. If they want to, I will share it on the GitHub like I mentioned. People may actually like it. Okay, good. So this one, you see, we've done the same thing here. We created a variable called annual cost, and we're going to assign it a value. What's the value assigned? The value assigned is going to be the total monthly cost up here, this one, times 12. Why 12? Because we have 12 months in 1 year. And this is what we call the annual cost. So we need to calculate times 12. Good. So that is the first part of the script. I'm going to clear my screen. Let's continue to the next part. Down here, it says that this part is going to display the result in your screen that you're using. After this, we're going to run the script. You're going to see. So it's going to print.
This is front end stuff, right?
Say it again.
Completely front end stuff.
I'm not hearing.
I said this is completely front end stuff now. Like this is what will pop up.
Exactly. When you're on your screen, on your terminal. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to print. You can see that we have put the print function. Print function is going to print on your terminal. Now, let me explain something here. You can see F here. Now, why do I put F there? That is because in Python language, if you are trying to write a string, and in that same string, you also want to call a variable. Because remember, in Python, how do you call variables? In Python, you call variables, let's say we create, like in this case, we create a variable called, let me go with this with the short name. Got a variable called gas. Like in this case, we have a variable called loan payment, insurance, gas, maintenance. Like let me take the variable called gas. If I want to call this variable in Python, how do I do it? I do $, curly bracket, gas, close the curly bracket. Anywhere Python will see this is going to understand that I'm calling this variable. So it's going to print the content. Remember, a variable is like a car that carries something inside. So what matters is the content of that variable. So anywhere Python will see this is going to understand that I want to see the content of that variable. Now, when I'm writing a string, what do I need? I need quotes. So the moment I put, let me put an eraser here. Let me erase this one. Let's say I'm trying to call this string plus my variable called gas. So I put $, curly bracket, gas, curly bracket, and I put this one here. The moment I put this variable calling inside of strings, what does it become, Mr. Kida?
The
moment I put this inside of quotes, what does it become? It becomes a string.
Yeah, string.
Remember, I told you anything inside of quotes is a string.
String, right. Anything in quotes is a string.
That is why in Python, if you are trying to call a variable inside of a string, like in this case here that we have, you can see we have quotes in front and behind. We have quotes here and quotes here. But inside, we call our variable called total monthly cost. Now, since we wanted to do that, we had to use a particular method in Python. And what's that method? The method is to put f in front. So you put, in this case, like I put print, I open my curly, I open my bracket, I put f first, then I open the quotes. Then I can write anything I want to write. Then I can call my variable. Then I can close it. This way, when Python is going to see f, and then it's going to see this, your variable calling instead of it, it's going to understand that by putting the f, you want him, Python, to recognize that this is not a string. Like in this case here, this part here is not a string. Why? Because of the f in front. Python is going to understand that that's not a string, that is a variable. And so what will he do? He'll take this variable from here that I've just created and then replace it with this total monthly cost there. Remember, a variable is just a placeholder. He only carries something. What matters is not really the variable. What matters is the content of the variable. Okay. So I did a little explanation for you to understand why there's an F in front here. So it's the same thing down here as well. Now this.
Make it a variable, right?
Exactly. We're putting F here because we're trying to call a variable instead of a string. That's why I put the F. If we remove this F, let me show you something. Let me show you. Actually, you will notice with the colors. Okay. So right now, I'll come down here. I'll remove this F. The moment I remove the F, notice the color, it has become green here.
Right.
Because the moment I remove it, Python thinks that, oh, that is just a string. But the moment I put F back, the colors become again different. Are we okay?
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
Okay. So let's continue here. Okay. So let's continue. So you can see I have total monthly cost. And then here I'm calling my variable. But then you must have a question. What is this .2f here for? Because when you look at the variable up here, there's no .2f. So why am I calling it and then putting .2f? What that means in Python is .2f here means 2 decimal places. It means that I want the answer to only have 2 decimal places. If I wanted the answer to have 10 decimal places, I would have put .10f. If I wanted so basically I'm telling Python that when it's going to get this answer from here, when it gets the answer, he should cut the answer in a way that is going to have only 2 decimal places. If it has more than 2, he should either round up or round down and give me only 2 decimal places. Okay. That is very clear. And same thing down here, you can see 2 decimal places. Now.
So F by itself means is making a string or whatever turn into a variable. 2F means 2 decimals for whatever the outcome of it's going to be.
Exactly, the outcome of this of calling the variable. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me clear my screen again. Now down here, the comment says this line below is going to return the value for further use. Now, I put here optional. Why? Because I don't have to return it. I'm returning it just in case later on I want to even add more things to this script. Then, and for example, in the future, I'm thinking I may need these 2 things. That's why I return them. But in most cases, when you create a variable, sorry, when you create a function like this, you always end at the end with return. So even if I remove it, you always end with return. Always. Always. Now, I just put these ones there just for the sake of putting them. I don't need to put them there. But you always end a function with return. If you don't want to return anything, then you don't have to put anything. That's fine. But if you want to put something, then make sure that you put the thing. If you want, for example, you want the function to bring out something that you're going to use later. Like in this case, I'm thinking that in the future, I may need to get the variable. So I put it at the end because remember that all of this here, all of this from here, all the way down here. In fact, all of this here, all the way down, in fact, let's take under the tribe. Everything instead of here, everything instead of there is inside. Let me, in fact, you know what? Let me say that again. Everything instead of a function, if you don't return it at the end of the function, if you don't return it at the end of the function, then you cannot reuse it outside. Let me say it again. Anything inside of a function. So anything that is like you are seeing this particular case, everything that is not on this line.
Everything after def.
Everything after def. No, not after def. Anything that's not.
Oh, after that line.
Yeah, that line, yeah. Because see that car is on the line. So car is not instead of it. So if you want to know everything that is inside of def, then look at everything that is behind this line. So from up here, all the way down to here. Because here you can see that car is on the line. If the line was you, car is on the line. So car is not inside of the function. So what I'm saying is, if there's anything inside the function that I would like to use outside, then I need to make sure that at the end of my function, I return that thing that I want to use later. That's why I put them here. But again, like I said, this is just optional. But again, remember right now, I'm just explaining it for you so you can later on use it as well. Good. Now let's go down. I already explained this except thing here. Now, at the end, you can see the line says run the calculator. So here I'm calling the function which I created up here. Okay, so now I'll open a terminal and I'll run this script so you can see how it works. So right now, where am I? Okay, I'm there. So what I want to go? I want to go to G code training. So I'll go to CD into G. Okay, CD into code training. Code training CD into Python assessment 1. He wants me to put that slide at the end. Like this, I guess. You CD Python assignment 3. I want assignment 1.
Maybe the dot. Did you?
Okay,
did you
I think the spelling is wrong. The spelling is wrong. Assignment. No. Good. I'm inside of it now. Okay. If I do ls, you can see that we have our car cost calculator here. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. I think I've taken the time to explain this one very well, so I can send all of these ones to the GitHub, and then I want you to take a look at them, and if it doesn't make sense, we can talk about them. Okay, so now let's run this Python script. How do we do it? Very simple. First of all, I'll just type Python to make sure I do have Python installed. I do have Python installed. How do I know I have Python installed? Because the moment I type Python, something popped up writing a lot of information, telling me the version of Python I have, and showing me these 3 things. Now, instead of here right now, I am inside of a Python environment. But I want to leave this environment. How do I do that? I'll do exit, open close bracket. Once I do that, I am out of the environment. But I did that just for me to confirm that I am actually having Python on my computer. So I have Python.
You're just using Git for all of this? Like the application is Git? It look like it's
No. Remember, what is
no
Git?
no no.
What?
What's
Ansible?
the application? No, not Ansible. What like the operating system? Like what are you using? Like not the operating system.
No, remember that Python is a coding language, right?
Right.
And your computer is interpreting what Python wants and doing it for Python. So you don't actually need anything. You just need to install Python in your machine and you can run it.
Oh, so you're not using Visual Studio Code or anything? Okay.
No. I can
It looks
right now I'm using Visual Studio Code to run the Python code, but I can also use Git Bash if I want to Git Bash. Yes, I can use Git Bash. I can use it. If I type Python here, for example, let me zoom in. Git Bash, what's happening with you? Why is it so slow today? Well, he's too slow. I can also use Git Bash for my Python, but it's taking too much time. See how it's slow. Let me go back here.
yeah.
So you can use
Okay.
anything, but you just need something which has a coding environment, like a terminal. So right now I'm using the terminal. Yeah. So now I want to run my script. So how do I do that? I'll type Python, then I type the name of the script, car cost calculator. I press enter. First question, enter a monthly loan payment. I'll first of all say F. Invalid input. Could not convert string to float. Please enter a valid number. Where is this coming from? Please enter.
That's the the accept part.
Exactly. Yeah, see
Only
now why
it
it's
can only be
important.
numbers.
Yeah, it only wants numbers because the moment I put something else, it says nope. Please enter a valid number. So now I can enter 1,000, for example. Because 1,000 is the number, he accepts it. Insurance cost, I'll say 2,000. Monthly, average monthly gas expenditure, 7,800. Average monthly maintenance cost, 9,800, for example. Then it tells me, okay, based on your calculation, your total monthly cost to take care of your car is $20,600, and your total annual cost is $247,200. This is my car cost calculator. Very simple.
Okay.
Now, I won't take the time to go through everything, but let me just see if I have it here. Let me just open it here. Open it. If I can just go through the other ones quick. Let me see. Car cost. Well, just look at this one right now. The feed tracker. This is a very long one here. Take time to explain this one.
You want to go over it tomorrow?
Yeah, we can do it tomorrow. Let me see. Hotdog.py. The hot dog script is going to calculate the number of hot dog and bone packages needed for a cookout with minimal leftovers. We can also do that. Paint estimator is going to estimate the amount of paint, the amount of resources, and the cost for a painting job. This is very simple. And in fact, based on what I've explained to you today, you should be able to understand each of these ones. Actually, I'll not.
Yeah, let me just take one little look in there.
Say it again.
Can I take one look in the hot dog one?
Hot dog one, sure, yeah.
Yeah, we
The other
got
one is
that.
very simple. You can say function, you can say comment, you can say if loop, you can say value error.
So if it's not greater than 0, then that's going to display an error message.
Exactly.
Okay.
If the person running the script, instead of putting a number for attendees, he puts a number less than or equals to 0, is going to say the number of attendees must be greater than 0. If the person, when the question is going to be asked, how many hot dogs per person? If the person puts 0 or less than 0, it's going to come up with the error. The number of hot dogs per person must be greater than 0. So I tried to put this ones there.
And that those are strings, right?
These are strings here. Everything instead of quotes, remember, strings.
Right. Okay, cool.
This here is an integer here.
Integer because it's a number.
Yeah. And then this one packages, you are seeing this inside of what? Normal brackets. That is a tuple. Remember, that's a tuple.
Couple can't be changed.
Can be changed, exactly. And also I tried to put comments at the top so you can understand what it's doing here. Then down here, I say we are done with the function. Now we are going to return the result. Again, remember, we're returning it. It's optional, but we're returning it because we know that we may need it in the future. But if I want, I can remove this and the script will still work. You see there's no error. But I put them there because in the future, when I'm going to use the script, I may need all of these functions which I created inside of this function. And remember, whatever is created inside of it, if it's not returned at the end, then we cannot use it outside. That's why I had to return it. And then down you can see we have attendees. The question is going to be asked to the person. The person running the script is going to ask the person, enter the number of people attending. There's going to take the number that the person is going to put there and make sure it's an integer. How many hot dogs per person? Integer. There's going to do a simple calculation here. It's going to take hot dog packages, bun packages, hot dog leftovers, and then put all of them inside the function hot dog calculator, which is this one here, remember? This function here. It's going to put it inside of it and put all of them there because remember, look at this particular function. It has, like I told you, it has the arguments. The other one doesn't have arguments. This one has arguments. You can say arguments are attendees and hot dogs per person. So it means that when I'm going to call them down here, I need to have them again, attendees and hot dogs per person. I can see it's going to print. We can run this after. Let me go to the next one. Print estimator. Now this one also, based on what we have done, you can see again, comment. If it's almost the same thing over and over, almost just different things. You can see the return here. You can see the try and accept invalid input. You can see that like I told you. What else again? Fit tracker. This is a fitness tracker. It's going to analyze and display data from a fitness tracker with error handling. When I say error handling, remember what I'm talking about. That's why you see the try, accept. Why? Because I want to handle any errors. I don't want the errors to be crazy that the person using cannot understand. I want them to be able to understand the errors they have. One error is going to be file not found, whatever I put there. Another error is going to be unexpected error while reading the file. Now, this particular script is very different. Why? Because this script is going to need a file. And what is that file? The file is a file, this file here, steps.txt. This file basically shows the number of steps that a certain person has walked for an amount of time. Day 1, the person walked 12,000 steps. Day 12, the person walked 7,000 steps. Day 28, the person walked 3,000 steps. So now, based on that, this my script is going to take those steps, assuming that we're looking at 365 days, which you and I know is a year. Python does not know that 365 days is a year. I've just told him that the number of days I wanted to calculate it over is going to be 365. So based on that file, the steps and the number of days is going to calculate the number, is going to analyze and display data with error handling, calculate how many steps the person has done and how much weight he has lost. And at the end is going to, you can see it's going to print the days where the person did more than 10,000 steps, the average number of steps in the particular month, and basically go from there. But again, like I said, based on what I've done so far, this script, it may not be as simple to understand as the calculus calculator, because the calculus calculator, I went into all details, explained everything to the finest details. But for this one, I've not done that. For the fit tracker, hot dog, and print estimator. But at least with this one, so you can share your screen to that person, and you can actually, for me, you don't have to share all of them. You can take 2 because just the cost calculator is enough for them to know that you master your Python, you understand it. So for me, you can.
So you think explaining it the way you explained it might help, or do you think they're just going to care about what the script does?
Yeah, they're going to care more about what the script does. Then if there's something, if they're trying to see your Python knowledge, they can say, okay, now, what is this while loop for? What is it there for? Just to see how far your Python is good, they can just ask you. But in many cases, like you said, it's just 30 minutes. They just want to see how much you have mastered Python. That's all.
Maybe I'll say, hey, I'll briefly explain the script to you, and I do that breaking down like like strings. Oh, this is a string. This F means that this is now a variable, and
yeah. I mean, it's up to you. Remember, it's 30 minutes interview. For me, depending, for me, you just explain what the script does. Just explain.
okay. I won't go in details about it. I'll just explain what it does.
Yes, you can just show them this part that you put a little comment there to show what it does. I put little comments at the top of every code block so that you
Mhm.
or anybody in your company using it can understand. You can see you wrote this for your company. You can see that for your company you're working with, and they wanted a little script for one client or one for one project or whatever. You wrote that you give to them. And that's why.
Probably say like, oh, a client needed a car calculator, so we broke it down into like tickets, and this is what I was tasked to do.
Yes, a car cost monthly and yearly calculator. So you have that one, you can explain this one and then explain which one is also easy. This hot dogs, yeah. So hot dogs and car cost calculator are the most easy. Now,
Okay.
paid estimator also is not too difficult, but the hardest that I know it could take, some work to understand is going to be this one. Because here you have now a file included. But again, for me, you
Okay.
have to.
Well, could we do you have time tomorrow? Because I don't want to take up your whole night.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah, we can meet tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate it. When can I like watch this video?
Um, uh, it shouldn't be long. I should upload it in the next an hour or two at most.
Are you gonna upload it to the website or YouTube?
Which is better?
Um, probably YouTube, because I have a PlayStation that I can just pull it up on the big screen, and I don't gotta switch between apps back and forth. I can just keep
Or
going when I'm on the laptop, and then watch the YouTube video on YouTube. What will upload faster?
YouTube will be faster. Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because then I could also watch on my phone without
Yeah.
browsing.
I need to log in and everything. Yeah. I think that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll put it on YouTube.
I'm gonna probably watch it as soon as I wake up tomorrow morning and go back, take my notes, because I was just trying to listen this time. I'm gonna go take my notes, and I'll probably practice it before we meet up again.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be great. So you can also have some questions after practicing. I love that. I love that idea. That's great. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it so much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, my brother. Welcome. Do have a great day and do have a good night as well.
You too. God bless.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.